Warm greetings from the High 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans on this Wednesday, March 4th, 2020. I'd like to bring you said information pertaining to Brianna Williams and her daughter who was found deceased in the state of Alabama. And this said information is brought to you by News4Jax. If you need verification for the storyline, it will be a bit lengthy. I will be bringing you back-to-back videos pertaining to this subject matter because it's too much information to put in one video. So I will probably upload more videos here shortly. So please bear with me and bear with me with the content because, as I stated, it is a lengthy article. News4Jax, if you need verification for the storyline. Scent of Decay led detectives to ugly truth remains of Taylor Williams. Brianna Williams returned to Jacksonville from Linden, Alabama, where her 5-year-old daughter's remains were later found, 6 hours before placing a Craigslist ad asking for help to move out of her apartment, according to evidence released Tuesday by the state attorney's office. Investigators later searched that apartment after Williams reported her daughter Taylor missing from the Brentwood home she moved to. According to records, they found possible bloodstains in 6 locations, sold children's clothes, fecal matter, cans of soup with small openings in them, and a scent of decay. That same scent was noticeable in the trunk of Williams' Honda Accord, records show. The trunk was empty, but a rubber liner inside smelled of cleaning fluid. A cadaver dog picked up the scent of decomposition in the trunk and the driver's compartment. According to records, dead maggots, fecal matter, sold clothes, and assorted sex toys were also recovered from the car. According to court records, a search of Williams' cell phone found she made 3 trips to and from Linden, Alabama on October 31st, November 1st, and November 2nd last year. She returned to Jacksonville at about 5:28 a.m., November 3rd. 6 hours later, she posted the Craigslist ad seeking help moving out of her South Side apartment. The couple who helped, Tiffany Robinette and Chris Bonaventure, said they were in their apartment for an hour, but they never saw a child at the apartment or new home. Williams told Bonaventure he heard running water at the apartment, that her daughter was taking a bath. 3 days after the move, Williams called police to report her daughter missing, saying she woke up and the back door was open and Taylor was gone. A massive search for the 5-year-old extended from Brentwood to Southside. Records show police recovered a handgun, shotgun, rifle, and ammunition from the house in Brentwood where Williams moved. Records show Williams had told her commanding officer she was taking Taylor to her parents' house in Alabama the first week of November. But when police interviewed both parents, they said they did not see Brianna or Taylor during that time. When detectives confronted Williams with a discrepancy in her story, she stopped cooperating with the investigation, records show. Records show the daycare at Naval Air Station, Jacksonville, where Williams worked, and the kindergarten daycare told the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office they hadn't seen Taylor since April. Taylor's remains were found November 12th in a wooded area of Marengo County, Alabama, where Williams' GPS had been tracked. According to court records, in the rural area where Taylor's remains were found, investigators also found pieces of plastic, fabric, 3 kinds of rope, blue gloves, a knife, cardboard, wire, papers, and a punch drink can. The Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences also listed a shower curtain, a black plastic bag, and a shirt in its laboratory evidence list. Investigators suspect Taylor, whose name is redacted from the evidence reports due to Marsy's Law, was dead before Williams moved to Brentwood home from the apartment on the South Side. Among the evidence released Tuesday were search warrants for Williams' iCloud account and a cell phone that said investigators hoped to pinpoint the last time Taylor was alive using photos, videos, text messages, messaging apps, call logs, and emails. Williams has not been charged with causing her daughter's death. She is charged with 2 counts of child neglect and 1 count of lying to police in connection with Taylor's disappearance. Williams appeared briefly in court on those charges Tuesday. Her pretrial hearing was moved to March 24th. The same day Taylor's remains were found, Williams was hospitalized after what was described as a suicide attempt by overdose at Nash, Jacksonville. Video evidence released Tuesday shows Williams in her Navy uniform that day in a car with a uniformed man who is not identified. The video is dated incorrectly as August 2014. During a conversation with Williams, the man says to her, "I hate watching bad news and stuff like that on the news, going back and forth with everything that's going on. But you know, now they're saying you're a person of interest." Williams nods and says, mm-hmm. As the man starts to ask her why that would be, Williams suddenly covers her mouth with her hand and starts to throw up. She opens the door and vomits out of the passenger seat several times. The man gets her a bottle of water and then continues to press her about why she would be considered a person of interest in the case. Williams doesn't respond, lays back against the seat, and looks ill. The man realizes something is wrong and starts shaking her shoulder, asking her if she's okay. Her eyes appear to roll back in her head, and he opens the door and says he's taking her to the ER. As he drives, he continues to shake her and call out her name. At one point, he grabs her wrist and says, faint pulse. Then he begins to have an apparent then she begins to have an apparent seizure. The man pulls over in distress, comes around to the passenger side, and someone else who runs up to the car tells him to get help. Others gather at the passenger door trying to check on her and get her to respond. Someone can be heard talking about a stretcher, and Williams is then lifted out of the car by two men wearing scrubs. Williams was arrested when she was recovered, and she remains in the Duval County Jail on $1.1 million bond. According to a 9-page summary of discovery in the case obtained by News4Jax, evidence that could appear in trial includes a 911 call where Williams claimed her daughter was kidnapped, Taylor's autopsy report, thousands of photos, surveillance video, police body camera videos, her Amazon order history, and information uncovered during search warrants at Williams' apartment, her home in Brentwood, and of her car, cell phones, and computers. The list shows investigators have thousands of pieces of evidence, nearly 4,000 crime scene photos, and dozens of videos of Williams in her car on base at Nash Jacksonville and in Alabama, near the spot where authorities found Taylor's body. Prosecutors also have Uber and Lyft records documenting Williams' activities with the ride-sharing services. Additionally, they pulled her Navy records, including when she accessed the base, and surveillance from stores in Jacksonville, Georgia, and Alabama. And that is the said information thus far. More information I will bring you here shortly. But as you see, they have evidence in this case, and naturally when you have a missing persons case and then a body found shortly after, they do not reveal all evidence in the case. So for those of you who wanted to let the queen know she was just arrested on child neglect charges, well, now you see why she got that charge, because of fecal matter and urine found inside of the apartment. And one would have to ask themselves first, the autopsy is basically telling you she was already dead when Miss Brianna moved to the second location, which was a house. So she let her child lie in a closet. It's where she put her, where she left her before she could go to work. And let her soil herself inside that closet, feeding her cans of soup with just enough to, I guess, slurp out of. So basically, she wouldn't even be getting anything that was solid out of the can if she didn't have, the hole was only so big to even let food come through. This is more than disturbing. More than disturbing. The fact that there is evidence, video surveillance, phone logs, burner phones, all of that. Yes, the queen's going to bring it to you. Because you see, this heifer thought she was swift. She thought she was smart. And for her to be in the Navy and working in whatever department she was working in, she wasn't smart. Because you see, you're driving a car that has a GPS on it. Your phone has a GPS on it. Your phone gives information of apps, who you've talked to, text messaging, all that. And as we have learned, it doesn't matter if you delete any of that said information from a phone, computer, it still has a backup system to verify the said information. So I see an indictment coming for murder, because we now know that the child wasn't seen at the daycare since April. There's an eyewitness at the last apartment complex to verify that the child was left alone and roaming the property. We now know that she's letting the child stay in a closet, and she sold herself. They have stains in the house, urine and fecal matter. The child was also malnourished. That was obvious. I thought that in one of the videos that I saw of her. Her stomach was pouched out, and I thought to myself, I don't think this baby's been eating. And of course, you have the account of the one guy saying he saw the mother bring in McDonald's or something in one day, or fast food. And of course, naturally, I always say you can't tell what's inside of a bag. But now we know. She wasn't being attended to, taken care of, loved, nor was she fed, because she could not sustain on soup alone. She'd have to have water, liquids at some point, taken to the doctor, immunizations, on and on. And now you see this heifer left for her job every morning, and left that child inside the house alone, and then two, left her in a closet so that way sounds could be muffled, I guess, inside of the room. And the fact that they opened the bedroom door and it had a pungent smell of urine and fecal matter, what does that tell you? So now you still want to bring in an outsider as the culprit for that child being found in the state of Alabama, nearby where Miss Brianna Williams grew up and attended school and lived. Yeah, come on with all that. But some of you need video surveillance of somebody murdering a person. I see that with a lot of you. You just refuse to believe that these people who investigate crimes, the coroner, that they possibly might know their job. Well, as you see, they didn't give you everything in this case, because naturally they have to have this information sealed for the indictment. And now I wonder who will question the said information in this report. This is a heathen by all means. And the fact that she left her child in that place, that apartment, unattended, and basically I think to starve her so she would die, and remains obviously was left behind. She didn't even think to clean the apartment. You see where I'm going with this? Because what you have to ask yourself is that she left apartment A to go to house B, and she didn't even think to at least have the apartment cleaned to where it wouldn't have been an odor left behind. For one, the apartment complex, when they check it, they give you a deposit. And once you decided to wait days later to file a missing persons report, you should have known they were going to go look at the last place that you lived. And you will leave all that evidence behind. And let's talk about the evidence that she left behind out in the woods in Alabama. You're going to discard a body out there, your child's body, mind you, and then you're going to leave all this other stuff such as rope, gloves, another drink can for the baby? You want to give her a little something to drink before what? Well, we know that couldn't have been for the baby, because autopsy is saying she was already dead when Brianna moved to the second location, the house. So the child wasn't drinking anything. She was dead when she got to Alabama. She had been dead at apartment number 1. So I guess the drink can was for Miss Brianna. She got a little thirsty. I guess so. You've been working up a sweat, toting dead bodies from place to place, cleaning out your car, making 3 trips to and fro from Alabama to Florida. Oh yes, she was a busy bee. But she didn't plan this well, because you see, you were a fool to have abandoned that child in the home, knowing somebody would see her at some point, hear her at some point, and then 2, the cleanup after death. And you didn't even have the decency to even clean the apartment up. And how about this? Never say anything to your command in the service, because did they really need to know you were taking her to Alabama? Did you discuss all of your personal business with these people? I don't think that you did. And who's this unidentified friend who gave said information about her? Is it a he? Is it a she? The fact that they found sex toys in the car. What the hell do you need sex toys in your car for? That's show enough ripe. Now, what you do behind closed doors is your business. But the fact that you had sex toys in the car that's confiscated with other evidence pertaining to the death of this child is beyond me. It's beyond comprehension. And they'll say, she was a nice girl, sweet girl. I can't believe she would do this. I don't believe it. You believe it now, don't you? All the evidence points right to that old apartment. The people who she hired hours later after leaving Alabama from dumping the body, who she got on Craigslist to help her move, paid them anything, huh? Yeah, they saw a bed, children's furniture, but there sure was no baby. And as I told you all in my previous videos, when I first took on this case, where and why would a child be in a room, in a bathroom with running water while you're moving things out with complete strangers? Who's watching the child while she's in the bathroom? The mover. Y'all didn't think about that? You see, I keep telling you all, everything is in the details. Let a person talk long enough, they will surely hang themselves. That was the stupidest remark she could have ever made. Oh, she's in the bathroom, taking a bath, washing up. Okay, but where's the other adult? While we're moving your stuff out of here to the next location. You didn't think to ask that? Ma'am, is there somebody else here with you that's going to be watching your kid while we move your things out of here? I'm just going to be truthful with you guys. Dealing with all the things I've seen, especially with the Evelyn Mae Boswell case. See, this is where these fools, well, let's just say this for Brianna's case. Brianna could have played duck, duck, goose and played possum and never said anything about her daughter. She could have just laid low and never spoke of her child again, never reported her missing. That's where she messed up. One, leaving behind evidence in the apartment, and two, going to the authorities, her command saying that she was taking the baby, because now you've left a trail with your mouth. You left a trail with composition, maggots, soil garments, soil carpeting. You left all that behind. The apartment was filthy and nasty. Why? See, you left all that behind. You see, had you cleaned all that up, threw everything out, had the place professionally cleaned, and not saying they could never have found anything, but if she had never reported the child missing, nobody would have known anything. Because as you see, she never kept in contact with her family, and they were one state up, two states up, or whatever. You get my drift. They wouldn't have known anything about the baby, whereabouts, what she was doing, because she didn't stay in contact with anybody. And had she, as I stated, cleaned the apartment, kept her mouth closed, we probably wouldn't even know about this case. But somebody knew something about that baby. And that's why she decided to go ahead and say the door was open and my child was missing. You see, in the end, these people are never clever. Fools they are, but clever they are not. As in the Boswell case, you went alone for months. And then somebody said, we better go on and call the authorities. Because as I tell you, in small towns, people talk. They cannot hold water. Somebody gonna start asking questions. Or as they say, come a knocking. And fortunately, one of her stupid relatives, they decided to go say something. But didn't think of the fallout of where it would end up. And now they feel scrutinized. And as you see with this crazy woman here, she's acting as if she hasn't done a thing. But the evidence speaks otherwise. So for those of you who still want to say an outsider killed that child, think again. The evidence points to the mother. She left a trail, and ain't no telling what the phone records will reveal, social media accounts will reveal. I believe we will see another side to Miss Brianna Williams. And it is sad that Taylor had to take the hard way out of here, dealing with obviously a very sick mother. And when you watch the video of her falling out, throwing up, seizing, whatever you want to call it, you realize this heifer is sure enough playing crazy. Now, I don't know if she had already took those pills when she seized out, throwing up, or what. But I believe this is right before the overdose, because they say she got picked up and dropped off. So I believe in the said video where she is throwing up, still in the seatbelt, which made no sense to me either. She had already took the pills because someone notified her that a warrant was issued for her arrest. The webs these people weave. This is a sad case, another sad case. I will be bringing you another video pertaining to the evidence that was found. And like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below. Thanks for joining me. And until the next video, this is Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.